Let's talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a very interesting day yesterday. We know CZ pleaded guilty. Pretty remarkable with CZ. Now, granted, he didn't steal any client money, so there's a big difference between Sam Bankman-Fried and CZ. But, I mean, basically, he made billions and billions of dollars. I think he's paying a $50 million fine, and he might spend, 18 months in jail. And then he gets to go back in 3 years, potentially, to be the CEO again of Binance. To me, that's a slap on the wrist. Granted, it's not comparable to what FTX did or some of these other ones, but still, I mean, good for him for figuring it out and working a deal. I mean, he worked a deal. I think partially the regulators didn't want to really crush Binance because it is a huge exchange and could literally have wiped out a lot of cryptocurrencies. But again, I think this is one step closer to a spot ETF. The more the SEC cleans up crypto, the closer it is to them saying, okay, we can have a spot ETF. So if we take a look at Bitcoin here, right, and we flip over to that chart right now, basically what we are seeing, and I'll move over here so we can take a look at this, and I want to zoom in, is we're just still staying within that level, right? So we're still within the channel level that we've been talking about. Now, yesterday we had a big flush, but look at where we stopped. And this is the amazing thing of charts. Again, on this news, if you had told me that CZ was going to be pleading guilty and all this stuff ahead of time, I would have been like, oh man, Bitcoin probably going to get, flushed down into this range or something. Instead, it stops right at this level right here. And then we're getting a bounce today. It is staying within the realm of the wedge pattern. So it's still valid. It hasn't broken down. It hasn't broken out. It is just lurking there. And I continue to say, folks, this pattern, I've seen it a lot. The favorability is that it does eventually break out. All right, not by a huge favorable margin, but a favorable probability margin nonetheless. All right, now having said that, I still think the alts are in trouble. And I will say this, guys. When I started shorting the alts with Verified Investing Crypto, which you can get access to at Verified Investing, people were like, oh, it's a new altcoin bull market, and he's going to get crushed. And we just closed out 2 winners yesterday. We've already closed out 2 the previous few days. Last week, we have a bunch in the money. And again, everyone, the crypto community is so passionate, and I love the passion, but it clouds their judgment. And that's where chart reading can enlighten you, is to kind of put you in a position of saying, listen, the chart just tells me. That's it. Like, if the chart is extended into 10 resistance points, probabilities tell me it's just going to have a pullback. It doesn't mean it's going out of business. I mean, I don't think a lot of these, it doesn't mean any of these are going to go out of business necessarily. It's just that if it goes up 400% and it hits a major pivot top, chances are it's going to pull back. I just take advantage of that. So I just short, cover. Okay, done. Make money that way too. So many people are so focused on being oh, I can only be long and I just got to love these coins and do whatever. And it's okay, that's one way to do it, but don't ever love an investment, folks. Second you start to love an investment, you've already dug your own grave, frankly, because an investment will never love you back. My famous saying is, only love things that can love you back. Your dog, your wife, your kids, your family, those things you love. Assets that are there, they are for you to make money to supply your family and give your family the life they deserve. That's what they're there for. So just remember that, is that at certain points, you have to be clear-headed enough to say, okay, this has gotten to be enough. At least let me take some off the table. And therefore, if it pulls back or if it collapses, that's fine. Think about some of these things like FTX. Think about some of these things like Terra Luna. If you had just done that or just invested a small amount, a much different outcome would have come. But people fall in love, and this happens in stocks and commodities, and it honestly is a detriment. And I've said this before too, is that gold, you guys know I'm a huge gold bug, but there's a point where I'll sell gold. If gold were to go to $5,000 an ounce, here, have it all. And then when it pulls back to $3,000, I'll buy it all again. And then when it goes to here, I'll sell it again. That's the way you have to behave with assets. And remember, They don't love you back, and no CEO loves you back. I promise you. I've heard so many times where like, oh, I love Elon Musk. He's a visionary. Yeah, he's a visionary, no doubt about it. Maybe a little wacky, but he's a visionary nonetheless. But he doesn't sit there and say, oh, Johnny, I love him. I'll make sure to only do things that benefit him to make sure that he's a shareholder that makes money. He's going to do what's right for him and his company, and that's it. That's it, folks.
Hey, crypto legends. Welcome back to Crypto Street, which we've got headlines hotter than a rocket engine. From Grayscale's ETF ambitions to Binance's billion-dollar settlement, SEC drama with Kraken, and Kiyosaki's crypto wisdom. I'm your crypto storyteller, and this is your news explosion. Let's dive in. Hold on to your Bitcoin helmets because Grayscale's on an ETF quest. Execs met the SEC to chat about turning their Bitcoin trust into a spot Bitcoin ETF. The memo spilled the beans on a crucial meeting with SEC's Trading and Markets Division. Grayscale's CEO and team dish out the deets, including their dance with BNI Mellon. This strategic move aligns them with big shots like BlackRock and Fidelity, all eyeing SEC's nod for spot Bitcoin ETFs. Is this the crypto ETF revolution we've been waiting for? Binance, the crypto giant, is making headlines, not for a moonshot, but a jaw-dropping settlement. Brace yourselves, $4.3 billion. Yes, you heard it right. The DOJ spilled the tea on a historic deal during a crypto enforcement press briefing. Binance's colossal settlement is shaking the crypto cosmos. What led to this astronomical agreement? Stay tuned as the Binance saga unfolds. The SEC is on a crypto maiming spree, and this time Kraken's in the spotlight. Brace for impact as the SEC identifies 16 crypto tokens as securities in its lawsuit against Kraken. It's deja vu because some of these tokens are deja seen in lawsuits against Coinbase and Binance. Kraken's CEO isn't taking it lying down, saying they don't list securities and prepping to defend their turf. SEC drama, crypto style. The financial sage Robert Kiyosaki, a man behind Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is sounding the hyperinflation alarm. His advice, brace yourself and guess what he calls your superhero in this chaos? Yep, it's Bitcoin. Kiyosaki sees it as the people's money, untamed by governments. Are you ready to ride the hyperinflation wave with Bitcoin as your shield? Crypto Street investors, that's a wrap on today's crypto headlines bonanza. Grayscale's ETF dreams, Binance's billion-dollar handshake, SEC's Kraken showdown, and Kiyosaki's crypto call. Now let's continue our enlightening discussion with Gareth Soloway.
Gold again, beautiful move. We are now hitting a double top up here. So bear with me here. Right up here, this is a short-term double top. It's not a major double top because it's only a little bit of a pivot, and now it's back up there. So minor double top. Eventually, we might pause here, we might whatever, but eventually we push higher on this, and I still say we're headed back here. I even think by year end, I know it's not a lot of time, basically a month left, maybe 5 weeks left. I still think we could test all-time highs by year end. Take a look at the NVIDIA after hours chart. This was insane, folks. So NVIDIA earnings came out. This is the after hours and pre-market data. Initially, NVIDIA pushed up here, right? It was trading around 508. Then it flushed down to about 468 before recovering and then chopping into the end of last night. This morning, we've seen a bid come in, a little bit of a pullback. We are essentially, get this, trading basically flat. So again, going into this earnings, I think I said this yesterday, I said this could be one of the most important earnings, if not more important than Apple, because it's AI, and it's the sexiest thing in the market right now. You say AI, and you instantly have $1 billion market cap. By the way, verified investing is all AI. All right, there, let's sell it for $1 billion. Now, my point is this, is that was the key. And this, again, very little price action, even though NVIDIA blew away earnings estimates. So what does that tell us? It tells us smart money is starting to say, hey, listen, this is as good as it gets. It doesn't mean it can't go up a little bit more, but ultimately, big money is not rushing into this thing at this valuation, even though earnings were unbelievably spectacular. Okay, so what I want to show you now is the daily chart, because on the daily chart, we talked about levels where this could go, right? So if we look at our parallel lines, we talked about, okay, well, where could this fall? And we looked at this level here on NVIDIA, right? And we drew this parallel here, and we stretched it up in this vicinity, right? So we just did one parallel right through this area right here. And what we saw, if we zoom in on this, is that we basically had, and I apologize you couldn't see it, but here's your parallel. we saw that ultimately what we had was a chart that could fall down right to this line right here, which was also this pivot point right here. And sure enough, the low on NVIDIA, see this pivot top right here and this upsloping channel line? That level happens to be 468. So amazing how on the earnings announcement, when it did flush before it recovered, it came down all the way into that level, and now we are trading back basically around the flat line.
That wraps up today's crypto news highlights. Stay tuned for more updates, insights, and analysis from the world of cryptocurrencies. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content.